Hello, thank you for joining me here at Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I'm just so excited that you're here and you found me and you seem to be enjoying what I have to offer. So just welcome and thank you. I want to do kind of a series of little quick readings today on one central theme. So I'm going to be looking at Cavanaugh and his longevity on the Supreme Court. I want to look actually at the Supreme Court and see, kind of what's going on with them now that Trump is behaving in such a way that seems to be going even against the more conservative judges. And I want to take a look at Chief Justice John Roberts. So I think I'm going to start with Scotus and take it from there. So just a couple more little quick shuffles and then we're going to get to it. All right, come on down. There we go. Okay, so Scotus, Scotus, Scotus. Okay, this is lovely. This is really reassuring. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the world, and it literally means sort of the world of justice and the fact that there are very wise people in Scotus. The institution has been around for a really, really long time. And while it may shift and change slightly as different judges come forward and others, leave, for the most part, it really is an incredibly stable institution. And that's just not really actually likely to change under the likes of the Trump administration. It's just not going to. They're going to be able to stand firm and they're going to be able to exert the balance and the checks that are needed. So take comfort from that. That's a good thing. It doesn't matter what kind of tricks the Trump administration pulls. The judges, well, okay, come on, state the obvious. They're smarter than him. They've dealt with the likes of him a long time, and they sort of know his tricks before he performs his tricks, if you will. So again, there's a real sense of stability there, and the strength lies with the judges and the institution of Scotus. So again, really good to see. Balancing that, of course, is literally the card of justice. You know what? If you're going to do a reading on Scotus, this is absolutely the card that you want to pop up, because you can take comfort from the fact that it is strong and it will stand strong and it will stand in the face of justice. Now, I do understand that, right now the court seems to be leaning more conservative, and for people who, like most Americans, want it to lean a little bit more liberal, it's going to take a few bumps, okay? It's not going to be so easy. There's going to be some rough moments. But understand that anything that is done in the courts now, and I do not mean this to sound flip, but it'll be undone. Right? I mean, as new presidents take over and as your country moves forward, those sort of attitudes, I'm specifically thinking about things like Roe v. Wade and women's rights. Those things are going to be adjusted and corrected. I'm not saying that it's not going to be a little touchy for a little while, may be a little difficult, but I'm saying anything that's really sort of beyond what is normal and expected in your country is going to get addressed and changed. So that's kind of good news. Yeah. The truth will out them. The truth is going to be what guides them. And the Empress, how beautiful. Okay, so women's rights are going to be a bit of a priority, but it's going to end up benefiting women in the long run. Okay. I almost want to say that as this moves forward, and again, I'm not saying today or tomorrow, but next year, the year after that, as a new president and a new administration comes in and starts to clean things up, the situation actually may end up even in a better and stronger position in terms of women's rights. You know, there's a lot of countries who offer an abortion service. And whether you agree or don't agree, most countries that offer that service kind of have limitations on it. If I am not mistaken, and I could be wrong because, you know, I'm kind of old and I've never had to use that service, but I think it's 6 weeks, if I remember correctly, from when I, you know, carried my children. 16 weeks. So by the time you hit 16 weeks, you probably had your amniocentesis. You have a fairly good indication if everything is normal or not normal with that fetus. And if you want to make that ultimate painful decision, that's sort of the parameters. I think after that, here in Canada, I'm pretty sure that unless the mother's health is like in dire danger, they're not performed after that point. So there's a way to come to compromise with this so that it's not so liberal and it's not so conservative. There's going to end up being a little bit of a compromise, just, you know, something that that works. That which is in place now will be corrected. It's just as simple as that. Okay. So even though there are some things that aren't very pleasant that you're dealing with right now, understand that even as we speak, somewhere in little offices, in organizations, there are people already working on what needs to be done to correct and rebalance. And, you know, don't forget, the Republicans spent decades lining this situation up, you know, with the courts and putting in those conservative judges. I mean, it was a strategy of decades. And I'm sorry to say, but the Republican or the Democrats sort of seem to be like, well, it's established law. We kind of don't really need to worry about it. And if the last little while has taught people anything, it's that, you know what, actually, yep, you kind of do need to worry, and you kind of need to do, you have to keep your eye on that ball. That is just something you have to be mindful of and watch for. And I would venture to say that this is a lesson that Americans are not going to soon forget. So things are going to get better, and it's going to be a good, strong situation. Look at, you've got the King of Swords, you have the Ace of Swords, and you have Justice. Rest assured, it's going to be okay. All right, so I'm just going to, you know, spread out the cards again. And I'm going to focus this one on Chief Justice Roberts. While I'm doing this, I just want to take a moment. One of my amazing viewers let me know last night that Tarot's Apprentice had given me a shout out and a recommendation. Thank you. Thank you to Tarot's Apprentice for your generosity and your support. And thank you for my viewer who let me know. One of the kind of the downsides, okay, it's the only downside I found, but it is a little bit of a downside, is that now that I have started doing these readings in a public format, I have discovered that I kind of have to pull back on the people that I like to watch and have watched for months and years. And that's because, you know, we're sort of all fishing in the same pond, if you will, right? I mean, we're all sort of tapping into that same general energy. We may have slightly different reads on it, our interpretations may be a little different, but what I'm finding is that I really have to almost keep myself a little bit separate, because I don't want what I'm hearing on those channels to be influencing my interpretations and my readings. So I'm so grateful to people who let me know that this is going on, because I have found that sadly I have to cut back on the Tarot's Apprentice and Guiding Light and Lena and Linda G, etc., etc. So thank you to those of you who keep me in the loop, and thank you very, very much to Tarot's Apprentice. That's generosity is lovely, and I super appreciate it. All right, let's get on to Chief Justice Roberts. Down you come. Whoa, it's a little too down. Okay, so one more quick shuffle. Chief Justice Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts. Okay. All right. Again, this is something to take comfort from. In many ways, Chief Justice Roberts is having to step back from some of his thoughts and feelings and his guiding principles. And I mean that as in, you know, not even so much that his beliefs are changing dramatically, but more that in order to prevent extreme rulings that are going to be harmful to the country, he seems to need to step back. And it's kind of a weird feeling, because it's sort of like, this is what I would normally rule, but if I rule this way, the ramifications are going to be really serious. So I'm going to mitigate that a little bit. I'm going to come to a little bit closer to center. Oh, and interesting, I just saw the other person who is of that almost similar mindset is Gorsuch. He also is, coming to some conclusions and some rulings that are a little bit more center, I think, than people expected. There is a great respect for the past, the rulings of the past. What's that called? Established precedent. It's something he takes very, very seriously. He looks at it and he thinks about it very, very carefully, and he's super mindful of the implications that it could have. He's, as I said, it's as if he is sort of broadening his emotional responses and his reactions, his legal attitudes, because it's really important to him that things stay balanced. You know what? I think this actually might end up being my card for Scotus. I do. I think this could be the card that represents the Supreme Court of the United States. So again, it's in a strong position. It is not, I know a lot of people read this as sort of an ending and a new beginning, and I oftentimes do too. But in this instance, this is sort of more about holding the world together, keeping it together, keeping it in, as it is meant to be, and using minds and intelligence and courage, and sometimes flat out stubbornness, to hold in place that which is foundational and important to the country. You know, Trump is going to continue to face sort of one disappointment after another in the court systems. He's going to face it for himself, for his administration, for his family. These court rulings, by and large, are not going to go so well for him. He is super mindful, and you know, if I could say anything to my viewers and subscribers, I would say take comfort from the fact that he is an honorable man. He is mindful of the wishes and the it's sort of like he's wishful, he's careful and very mindful of the desires and the beliefs and the hopes of the country. It's kind of a little strange, because what these cards are sort of showing me is his decisions, while they are based in legal law, there seems to be a bit more of a he's connecting to, sorry puppies, he's connecting to the wishes and the desires of the country, and he is connecting to his own emotional responses. And so it's sort of like he's keeping a very clear eye on what is it's like he's just connecting to his emotions, and he wants things to stay fair and balanced. And so that seems to me to be kind of the foundation or the basis that he's using as some of these situations come across, you know, their desks. And just as a personal side, I was really kind of disappointed with the ruling about gerrymandering, kind of on behalf of the United States. But on some level, I really do understand that, you know, not everything can be fixed by the Supreme Court. There are rules in place about what portions and pieces of government are supposed to do certain things. And honestly, they got to figure out how to get along and quit suing each other and fighting over everything, because, you know, it's not going to work out well. You know, sometimes you have to go to mediation as opposed to divorce. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to figure out how to compromise instead of just taking a very firm stand on this is how and what I think, and it's just going to be that way because that's what I want. So, oh, and just as an aside, this is interesting. I just got this little flash, and this is more about Scotus. It appears that going forward, there's going to be more of a balance between the male and the female energy of the Supreme Court. So you can look forward to more women being placed into the Supreme Court. I'm sorry, the word for what that actually is called has escaped me. All right, so Cavanaugh. I kind of saved, you know, the worst for last. Don't like him. Got to be upfront with you about that. I'm not real thrilled with him. So let's see if at this point the universe and tarot thinks that he may actually end up paying a bit of a price for his behavior. Oops, sorry, I didn't focus my cards. A little scattered here. See, as soon as I start thinking about him, I just get like kind of agitated. Kavanagh, Kavanagh, Kavanagh. So, okay. His emotions and his attitudes, his thinking, his thought processes, his beliefs. His beliefs and thought processes are what brought him to the attention of what is that? The Federalist Society, Trump, those, McConnell, those people who were really, really pushing to get a lot more conservative attitudes on the bench. His emotions, his emotional outburst, his, screaming like a hysterical person, the complete disregard that he showed for that lovely professor. I'm sorry, I can see her face really clear. Her name just flies out of my head. When you get old, things like names, I'm telling you, man, they escape you faster than, water through a sieve. You all know who I'm talking about. That performance sort of cemented what people think about him. Any people who were sort of ambivalent or undecided or weren't quite sure, that performance at that hearing literally cemented people's attitudes. Either you thought he was brilliant and strong and, he fought back for his position. I don't get that, but I guess some people think that, especially Trump. And other people, more rational, reasonable people, thought his behavior was childlike, immature, sarcastic, belligerent. And those attitudes, opinions are set. They're sort of like set in cement right now. I don't see people having sort of some moment of enlightenment and just changing their attitudes and thinking, oh, I was wrong about him. No, people's attitudes are very much set. So this is the thing, right? You've got temperance and you've got judgment sitting side by side. So what that's telling me is that there is a need, and this is karmically, this is energetically, for him to find balance in his life. And judgment sits upon him. He will be judged for the rulings he makes. He will be judged for his behavior, future, current, and past. And he's not going to come out of the judgment very well. It's his out of control emotions, and frankly, his ability or desire to sort of be and do whatever it is that he thinks is going to serve him best. So there's not kind of a lot of real he's not solid. You don't really get energetically, he doesn't strike me as a person who is solid and strong in his convictions as much as he is I'll do what it takes to get where I want. Kind of very much similar energy to William Barr, your lovely Attorney General. Honest to God, what a disgusting people. Anyways, it doesn't matter how much work he does to alter people's perceptions of him. It's not going to work for him. Now, I know people want to know if he's actually going to get thrown off the bench. Okay. The alliances that he made to get where he is now have not all come to light, but they will. There is going to be some investigations coming on him. I'm not sure when, and I'm not sure from where, but he's definitely going to be put under a microscope. And right now, he is very definitely, from what I understand, sort of being super conservative. He's really sticking to that side of the fence. It's not going to end well for him, okay? It's not. and this card is telling me a lot of different things. This card is telling me that there very well could be one or two problems with addiction or substance abuse. There is very much being connected to the wrong side of history. He's easily bought. I guess that's what I'm really trying to say. He is that person who, for a price, will sing your tune. Truth is not truth is not his friend. It's not. He's he is kind of what he is, and what he is isn't high quality. It's not morally strong with convictions. It's just, what is it you need? Okay. Ultimately, he comes down. Ultimately, he falls. I am not. I know some readers have, have said with far more clarity, I think, than I'm saying. I'm kind of getting that he's going to fall. It's ultimately, he's not going to be on the right side of history. He's going to sort of be a footnote in history, and it's not going to be a good one. It's kind of going to be not, I don't know why, but lately it seems every time I put out these cards, something or somebody is reminding me of the words Benedict Arnold. It's not going to go well for him. He's not going to be judged well going forward. Do I think he's going to get tossed out of the courts? I cannot answer that right now based on my cards. And even energetically, it feels like that is the desire of a lot of people. It is the hope and wishes of a lot of people. I'm not sure at this point if there is enough energy focusing on that to actually make it manifest. It feels a little bit more wishy-washy to me. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm not saying it isn't going to happen. I'm saying right now, it's like the energies are scattered when it comes to him. Frankly, there is so much crazy going on in your country, in the courts, that the attention and the focus is not really on getting him out. And take comfort from the fact that Chief Justice Roberts appears to be there to kind of keep those scales balanced. Okay, so this has gone on a little bit longer than I had wanted it to, but all of these were viewer requests, and I thought it was kind of important that I get to them. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you have found this insightful. Again, I am so grateful and thankful for my subscribers and my viewers. My numbers are skyrocketing. They're going through the roof, and I am just unbelievably grateful and appreciative. So for now, take care. Be well. I'll see you soon. Bye.